Hello, every single person out there that's listening, and welcome back to the Chris Seibert Show. It's funny because when I'm looking in this program, every time I have an S, it sounds like a hiss, like a snake, like sss. So, welcome back, guys. It has been one heck of a week, and the reason why I say it's been one heck of a week, because I typically record this on Thursdays, and as we well know, on week 28, if you're listening at this point in time, the usual day when I record this on Thursday will be Thanksgiving of 2020, September 26th. Is that right? Today's the 23rd, Monday. 25 is Tuesday, or 24 is Tuesday. No, wait, 25 is Wednesday. So it'd be the 26th is Thursday. God, hopefully I said that right. Not sure. Oh, well. Well, anyways, we're already this deep, so we're not going to stop now. But no, it's going to be Thanksgiving on Thursday when I typically record that. I plan on heading back home to my hometown to visit family and celebrate the holidays. Just my mother, father, sister, and perhaps my grandma. Keep it low key, keep it sweet. But I'll be at home when I typically record this around this time during the week. So I'm actually recording this on Monday, November 23rd. So I actually wasn't, hasn't been too long since my last episode, and it's already fun and good to be back. So happy to be here for you guys. As always, thanks so much for tuning in, but welcome back. We're going to go ahead and dive into the analytical data for week number 27. And looking back so far, I've only had one total listen or one total stream. And if you've been paying close attention, maybe you're watching the YouTube version, the past two episodes have been extremely unfortunate because there has been an error with my recording. And the reason why I think there has been an error is because I tried to kind of cut things close or cheat the system a little bit by using the 1080p format on the camcorder, but I think there's an issue once I get to a certain time frame. I don't even know the way it's probably set up in the SD card or somehow in the camera that it just automatically shuts off when it's done. But right now we're running smoothly as I can tell with just the 4K setting, everything as if it's already normal. So hopefully there's no issues this week, and I want to kind of continue to keep resolving those issues as time goes on. So for those of you out there that have been going along with the flow, who enjoy watching the YouTube version, I'm sorry if you've missed the past couple episodes, but always don't forget that you can, search Anchor, search Spotify, search Apple Podcast, Castbox. I mean, anything that's out there that's podcast related that has, streams podcast, this podcast, the Chris Seibert Show, should be on there. So just in case of any future episode, feel free to subscribe to the podcast. That would be awesome in case you miss out a show or you're very curious, because even though this week's kind of busy with the holidays, I'm still making the effort to record an episode for you guys because I want to continue to do this. I want to make sure that there's no giving up, there's no quitting, and I'm not going to stop. I want to make sure that I continue to keep doing this every week. So in the future, once I look back, I'll be able to listen and make sure that and see that I continue to keep doing them every single time. So there you go. But we're going to go ahead and get into the personal life. I've already spoken a lot about it already during this episode, but it is Thanksgiving this week. And with that being said, referring to over the weekend, normally I like to go and talk about what happened over the weekend, really what's new. Since it's so early in the week, it's only Monday. There's really not a whole lot. It's a short work week for me. I'm going to be at home. This past weekend, I didn't really do a whole lot. I was just hanging around the apartment, had extremely a lot of fun with Bryce Friday evening. Saturday was Emily and I's day. And then Sunday, of course, I was doing stuff at Sedge's. We were recording content for sedgetool. And then additionally on top of that, just a lot of getting caught up with work. Edited quite a few videos for work and just staying on top of that flow as I continue to keep pushing out more and more content as the year comes to a close. But not really a whole lot. Expect this week I'm going to be going home, spending time with family as mentioned for Thanksgiving. And then when it comes around to the weekend, I shall be back at my apartment, and it's beneficial. I did receive the confirmation that I will be moving. The apartment was approved. Everything was approved. I will be moving in to a new apartment come December very, very soon, in with Bryce. And then once May rolls around, his girlfriend Brandy will also be joining us as a roommate. So it'll be the three of us. It's going to be an exciting time. The next journey in our life, a whole new place together and just live together and have a lot of fun. And just keep the ball rolling. But I will be transitioning to a new apartment. So probably this weekend, I believe my mom's going to come and be assisting me, but we're going to be moving or start packing, looking at things I need to get rid of, and begin just kind of tidying up and getting that stuff rolling, since December is next month and I will be moving out then. So yeah, with personal life, that's all I really got for you guys. Stock market is crucial this week because it seems like the more and more I continue to do this, the more updates I have. The things are always evolving, things are always changing, and I kind of I don't really know how to word this, but I'm trying to solidify a portfolio that I can maintain and keep in the long term, and hopefully my I really don't know how to word it, but basically, from the get-go, my strategy has been to hold long term. And as I've continued to keep doing this, I kind of been flipping and flopping things here and there and just trying to figure out what's best and what seems to be working, what seems not to be working. I'm receiving a FaceTime call. Sorry, I had to mute my computer. But, looking at the terms of the stock market, I want to make an announcement and let everybody know that I sold Blink as of last Friday. I sold my remaining 500 shares at $23.50. A whopping $11,750 gain is what I ended up receiving from selling those remaining shares. And if you can recall, back in the beginning of the year, this wasn't in the podcast, but at one point in time, I had 2,500 shares. Then in March, the stock market crashed. I ended up selling 500 of those shares, which ended up being a little over $1,000, and investing that into other companies since the stock market was on a giant selling spree. So I copped up a lot of shares and I've continued to keep investing and adding over time. And what has seemed to really work, and especially now recently since I sold the rest of my Blink, is I'm able to not only diversify those earnings, but use that remaining balance and cash on hand to invest in other, you could say, startups, penny stocks that I feel like have a very good outlook and future growth plan or place, or I guess at a discounted rate, something that I can accumulate a lot of shares of at a cheap price. And then, something similar, whereas if I wait the next 6, 7, 8 months, the stock may double. I can sell those shares. And then with all of the money I've received, continue to keep, doing this and buying good stuff. But by me selling Blink on Friday, I was able to rediversify into a lot of great stocks that I already own with dividends. And I've managed to increase that balance even more, which is just insane. And on top of that, I bought some other stocks. So let's go ahead and get into this little segment here that I have been talking about. So my dividend portfolio is now around $21,575 since I've sold Blink. That is what I'm looking at now by holding Realty Income, Chevron, AT&T, Coca-Cola, Cisco, Vanguard, VYM, the high dividend ETF, and then VNQ, the Vanguard Real Estate Indexed Fund ETF. But looking at this as a whole on Friday, once I kind of sold all my remaining Blink, I had a lot of cash on hand. And, I wanted to assess kind of generally just my whole dividend portfolio. I was accumulating, and if you can remember in the past episodes, I had a dividend income of $843.22. This was last week's dividend income per year payout, okay? But now, this is where things get exciting. So I had a plan going into Friday. Once I sold my stock, I have now decided to additionally sell Coca-Cola, sell Cisco, the technology company, and additionally, this wasn't a dividend stock, but I sold Sundial Growers, which was a marijuana stock, and I sold that whole position. I took a pretty hefty loss on that. Lesson learned, it was too cheap. It was more of, a couple cents. So why not buy a lot of shares and hope for a great return? But just, again, you live and you learn as you continue to invest in the stock market. But I took a major loss on that. And then my payout, or I guess my cash on hand, was even a lot more. It was, I think, close to 13, 14, 15,000 bucks I have now here on hand. And what I decided to end up doing was I invested into, this is my new dividend income, or new dividend stock, Innovative Industrial Properties. Now, the cool thing about this was I'm getting back technically into the cannabis sector, but I would say a new and improved, better way. This is an REIT, REIT, Real Estate Investment, REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust. Basically, Innovative Industrial Properties is a REIT that holds, or I guess owns, the properties of cannabis farms, cannabis fields, cannabis greenhouses, the properties that grows marijuana in the United States. And they pay a very good dividend. Their last dividend was $1.17 per share. They are, I would say, very, very high in terms of stock price. It's around $153, but there's a huge room for growth as marijuana continues to get more and more legalized in different states, both recreationally, medically. So the future is very bright for this REIT, but I decided to buy 20 shares of that. Going back and bouncing off of my dividend portfolio, the reason why I decided to really sell Coca-Cola, Cisco, was because a lot of the dividend payouts I was receiving was around the same time. And what I wanted to really do, thinking about it and looking long term, is I want to be able to get paid each month from dividends. So instead of having Coca-Cola and Cisco, and, along with AT&T, Chevron, Realty Income is a payout every single month. It's a monthly paying one, but the other ones are quarterly. And when most of these dividends are paid at the same month, it's not really equivalent. So now I have Innovative Industrial Properties. I get paid 1 month, then say after that it's AT&T, and then after that it's Chevron, and then we kind of start the trend back over again. So those three major ones are the ones that I'm going to be receiving dividends, along with Realty Income, that REIT as well, which is a monthly paying one. So I'll be getting paid monthly from Realty. And then additionally, I'll be getting paid Chevron, AT&T, and then in Innovative Industrial Properties every other month. So it's lean, it's mean, it's effective. I decided to continue holding my Vanguard high dividend ETF, as well as the other REIT, Real Estate Index Fund, the Vanguard one that's an ETF. So I'm receiving dividends from those ones as well, and those both pay out around the same time. I can't give you the full month, but if you're curious about it, make sure to leave a comment if you're watching the YouTube video, or feel free to get a hold of me via social media, and I can tell you guys the exact dates. But in general, in whole, last week for week number 27, I was receiving a dividend income of $843.22. Now, after selling Coca-Cola, Cisco, and adding Innovative Industrial Properties, rediversifying into the other stocks that I have, I officially now am receiving $997.50 of passive income per year. So it's guaranteed. If I continue, well, I can't even say continue, but from here on out, I will automatically be receiving almost $1,000 a year in dividends. Now, things are always subject to change. Dividends can go lower, they can go higher, they can stop paying dividends. But for the time speaking, as I'm recording this, week number 28 on November 23rd of 2020, I'm here at about $1,000, which for my first time really getting a stab at this, and shout out to Blink Charging for really getting me to this point by trading that and buying that, I am looking at a very, very strong starting point for my dividend portfolio. And the cool thing about this is I'm getting paid not only by Realty Income every single month, but every other month I'm receiving a dividend from these other companies. So I'm able now to reinvest, not only DRIP, I'm able to reinvest that dividend income into the stock, but every week I continue to buy at least or invest $100 into these different stocks. So it's more lean. It's going to be more higher of a reinvestment per quarter with the dividend. And additionally, I'll be able to buy more of the stock by not from going from pretty much 8 different companies down now to just 7. So huge win. I'm very excited about this. And I would love to talk more about the other things I bought. So aside from buying innovative industrial properties, the REIT for my dividend portfolio, the cool thing that I got lucky with was when I bought Blink, I bought it for around $2.32 was my average. And at the time, at the beginning of the year, I didn't really have a lot of financial backing. I mean, this was a chunk of my savings, but I felt like EV was the future. And somehow, by the grace of God, by the trading gods, the stock market gods, not sure really where this is going, but EV in general in this whole pandemic has somehow just skyrocketed to just something unimaginable. And I was fortunate enough to receive a very, very amazing return on my investment in such a short amount of time. But what my new route of going is now with this is now that I've kind of solidified my earnings, my capital gains, and rediversifying those into a nice lean package of dividends, it's time that I find more cheap stocks that I feel like that are at a great price that I can buy a lot of shares of. The first one that caught my attention right away that I found was LiveXLive. Now this stock trades around the lower $2 range, but what they specialize in, it's a company based out of Los Angeles, California. Their main focus is music, podcasts, and live streaming. And they live stream concerts, they live stream festivals. Now, I know we're in the midst of a pandemic, so they've kind of suffered that route right now because of that. But they have a subscription service where you can pretty much listen right now to the music for free on the app. However, if you pay $5 a month, there's no ads. If you pay $10 a month, you're allowed to save these songs that you listen to. So think of it similar to Spotify or Apple Music, Pandora even. But with the new podcast, this thing they got going on, and live streaming. I mean, this is so cool and so groundbreaking in my eyes, and it's at a very cheap price. So I feel like, if I can hold again for another 6 to 8 months, it could have another rocket ship play or a massive amount of growth, and it'd be a great return on my investment for just, spending $1,500, $1,000 on that stock right now. So I ended up deciding to go with that route, and I bought some LiveXLive. I also bought I think you pronounce it as Ideanomics or Ideanomics. Basically, this is another EV electric vehicle play. It's not an EV electric vehicle stock. However, with that being said, they do specialize in electric vehicle tractors and electric vehicle motorcycles. Along with that, they also have their own little segment in artificial intelligence that they're working on. So they have quite the portfolio, but what's interesting about this stock is that it has not popped yet like all the other EV stocks have. I wouldn't say that this is an EV stock, but they have very cool technology and they have some really interesting products that they're innovating and working on. And it's only, again, a couple dollars. So I bought a lot of that as well. A couple other things. These are more or less, I feel like, gambles, or I would say a risk. But at the same time, I feel like there's a very good outcome for a lot of good growth and a bright future. The first one I bought was United Microelectronics. They specialize in some semiconductors and smaller parts for technology and stuff. They also pay a dividend, which is added, but it's a one-time payout, and it's generally in August. So I was able to scoop up, I think 350 shares is what I decided to end up buying. But every single year I can guarantee, and I shouldn't say I can guarantee, but they'll have a payout and I'll be able to grab a lot more shares around that time if it's able to stay at this price. So to be able to continue doing that year over year is going to be cool and exciting, and it's something I feel like I don't need to continue to invest in. It's more of a growth play and an aggressive play, so I'm really curious to see how that shakes out. And then lastly was something that really caught my eye, and that was MoneyGram. I ended up buying 300 shares of this, and this is a money transferring company, financing, banking. There's a lot of different places where you can get MoneyGram or money transfers at. Think of it like a Venmo, a Cash App. What I really like about this company is they had a phenomenal last quarter in November. And along with that, I feel like this can go a lot of places. I think here soon, more or less, they might be able to kind of get into the crypto space. And I know for one, you can already transfer Ripple, which is a cryptocurrency. So I think in the longevity of things, the things with cryptocurrency is going right now, how I mentioned I bought Bitcoin, I think it's going to be a great play long term. And I could even seeing it turning into something like maybe Square or some other type of industry where they have like a Cash App scenario or something like that with banking and finance. So very excited about those 4 plays: growth, riskier, more aggressive stock choices. But like I said, they were at bargain discounts. So I'm very excited to see the next 6 to 8 months what happens. But for right now, I'm going to hold them long term and see where things go. I wanted to spend a majority of this podcast this week talking about that because this was the bulk of the podcast. I want to continue to keep updating you. And for those of you out there that continue to keep listening to this on a regular basis, I've heard around the holidays that I'll be lucky enough, and I hope so, to receive this program where I can enter in all this information and bring it to more of an easier way of showing you guys how it all really works. And I plan on doing a YouTube series where it's either bi-weekly or monthly, where I kind of share my portfolio and how things are going in the stock market with you guys, and maybe give you tips and tricks or ways of helping you invest. And I think it's going to be a really beneficial thing for you guys out there who are maybe confused or just enjoy hearing this, or how I find these stocks, or what brings it to my mind. I really don't have any news for you, and that's pretty much going to wrap up this week's episode. I can see we're already at 21 minutes, and I'm very comfortable with that time slot. So as always, if you're watching the YouTube video, thank you so much. I can see that the camera is not shut off yet and it's working properly. So thank goodness. But feel free to look up this podcast, The Chris Seibert Show. Like I said, I'm leaving the anchor link in my bio on my Instagram account, my hobby Instagram account. But search it on your phone, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, LiveXLive. I downloaded the app to see it's not on there yet, but who never knows, in the future it might have some contract or partnership with Anchor. And if that's the case, then it'll be going on there as well. And then, my hobbyist YouTube or my hobbyist Instagram account, The Christopher Seibert. I post my stock portfolio weekly. I post, clips to the Chris Seibert Show, post motivational stuff in my story. And then when I do, more vlogish type videos, I make sure that I have kind of like a little tease in there so you guys can go to the video on my YouTube page. So feel free to look into that if you're interested. If you like listening to podcasts other than this, something more serious, something more fun, check out Balcony Conversations. I know Bryce and I are getting ready to start that back up after we move. If you're into woodworking or looking for a new hobby, I suggest checking out sedgetool. You can look it up on YouTube, on Instagram. My coworkers and I do this for fun in our free time outside of work as a hobby. And we're just wanting to train people and educate people and have fun doing it. And it's really exciting, and there has been an explosive growth with that so far all across social. So we're very pleased and thankful for that. And then last but not least, thank you as always for listening, for tuning in. I take time aside each week to do this for you guys. It's fun. It's my journal, and I'm in here by myself just talking away, but sharing, my life, my stock information, and then, any news that pops up. But thank you. I hope everyone has a fantastic Thanksgiving. I'm sorry that it might not be with all of your family because due to this pandemic, but at least hopefully you get to see some of the closest ones you love and fill up your stomach and have a good time. Thank you so much always, guys, for tuning in. I will be back for week number 29. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next episode.